It's Sunday morning. It's May 15th. It's MLB DFS 5-5. It's Tony Cutillo. It's Adam Stangis. WinDailySports.com is where you find us, and we're going to get right into Ace of the Slate. Who do you have?
I'm actually going to flip this question on you a little bit. I think a guy like Justin Verlander is probably going to be popular. Might need him for cash games. You look at the ace tier, it's Verlander, Nestor Cortez against the White Sox, really tough spot. Alek Manoah, he kind of struggles against lefties. The Rays can throw out a lot of lefties. So honestly, my most rostered pitcher today, which I consider kind of the ace of the slate, is Tariq Skubal. And he's only $6,000. It's not what we normally consider an ace pricing, but DK just completely dropped the ball here. This might be one of the worst pricing in pitching that I've seen all season. He's produced over 23 DK in 4 of his 6 starts. The 2 bad starts, one was against the White Sox. I'm never going to hold a lefty accountable for a bad start against the White Sox ever. It's just not going to happen. And then he had a bad game against Minnesota. He didn't have full control. I don't care. Like $6,000 in Detroit at home against the Baltimore offense that is bottom 10 in every offensive category we value against lefties, strikes out 26% of the time. It's going to be hard for me not to put him in lineup today.
You're looking at Verlander and you're talking, do we start at 10-3? And then you're literally punting all the way down to Skubal at 6,000. I mean, you're saving $4,300. It's no joke. And like you said, now you get a guy like Carrasco, again, who's been pitching really good for the Mets, who has that strong K potential. But again, going up against Robbie Ray, it's going to be a pitcher duel. You also have a lot of guys down the bottom, like you talked about, maybe a Jose Quintana or strikeout potential, maybe Mr. Green from Cincinnati. You're right on par there, where there's a lot of value ranges for these pitchers today. But how about guys with tap? Is there one gas can out there that we're going to put the bats up against it?
In the article today, WinDailySports.com, come on over and check it out. I actually have a rotation special. Guys, a little risky. You got to read that to check it out and see who it is. The guy that I think pretty much the entire field's going to attack on the slate, and I'm going right with him, is Patrick Corbin. He probably hasn't pitched quite as bad as some of his surface metrics would indicate, and that's fine, but you're also going against the Astros, which is not fine for any pitcher on any given day. The guy that probably interests me the most is actually Jordan Alvarez, and even though it's a lefty versus lefty, Patrick Corbin's throwing his slider about 44% of the time to that side of the plate. Alvarez has a 433 Woba and a 390 ISO against lefty sliders. So even in the lefty versus lefty matchup, I think Alvarez is still worth it. We'll see if Uve plays, but even if not, there's a lot of cheap guys. Yuli Gurriel, Aledmys Diaz, and Chas McCormick. Small sample sizes, but they all have ISOs over 300 against lefty sliders as well, with Gurriel sitting over 500 in his ISO against lefty sliders. This is a tough spot for Corbin.
It's funny because we talked about this last night on Sirius, and I was all over Alvarez. He was the guy I'm building my lineup around today. Great call there. Houston bats are going to be fierce today. How about stacks, Adam? Is that your stack today, or are you going Houston, or are you kind of going somewhere else?
No, that is going to be my general stack. There's a lot of pitchers on the slate. Good bit that I don't necessarily want to chase at their salaries, but there's a lot of just strong real-life pitching today. Verlander, Cortez, Manoah, Woodruff, Kopech, Joe Ryan, Carrasco you talked about, Robbie Ray, maybe finding his way a little bit. 10 strikeouts last outing. The list goes on and on today of guys who I think can at least go 5 innings and not get blown up. So I really think the main stack today for me is just going to be getting different in that Houston lineup.
I like that. I'll throw out there again a sneaky stat that I like. Joe Ryan has been really good this year, but all I'm saying is Cleveland bats are very, very low priced. And Joe Ryan, over the last 2 starts, has given up 10 hits and 6 earned runs, and he hasn't made more than 4 innings pitched. So he could be starting to ravel a little bit. And you look at the number that these bats are producing for Cleveland at a money value, and it could be something that we look at. Speaking of value, Adam, FFVP. We're on a roll right now. Who's your FFVP for today?
I've already played him once this week, and he went off. I don't expect 27 DK again, but I will be going back to Royce Lewis. When we look, Tristan McKenzie throwing his fastball almost 65% of the time. His WOBA on the fastball right now is almost 100 points lower than the expected WOBA. So far, Royce Lewis, 91.5 mile per hour average exit velocity on fastballs with a 368 WOBA and a 311 batting average. So if he's going to see a fastball a bunch of times, odds are he's going to do a little bit of damage again.
And I'm going to go right with my sneaky stack. I'm going to go with Oscar Mercado. And again, I know he started off great. He hit a bit of a slump, only back to 208, but he has a multi-hit game in his last 2, has 4 hits in his last 4. And again, I think Joe Ryan's going to give up a lot of hits today. So that's my FFVP to get that cash from 7 to 12. As always, Win Daily Sports is where you find us. This is the 5-5. Everybody, make sure you go to the site, get the articles, get the projection miles, be profitable, and enjoy your Sunday.